Welcome back. This is video number 2 of the Honda MR250 restore. And just to kind of show you some more stuff that I've got here. Excuse me. So here's an old toolbox I had as a kid. And I've got a bunch of toolboxes. And this one in particular, I put some parts in it back in the day. Because I got like a better one later on. And you can see that it's dented up. I kind of abused it a little bit. So here's the toolbox, and if we look inside here, we'll find some parts for my dirt bikes I had as a kid. Funny, I used a floppy drive thing. Way to mix hobbies there, huh? To hold some of the parts. Here, this is some of the exhaust stuff from the MR250. This bolts onto the cylinder here. And the springs hold that in. Here is spark plugs. This is the spark plug that the MR250 takes. This is a Nikon, NGK B7ES. And I also use a B80S, I think. This is just a standard plug. I like to use the palladium plugs because they don't foul with a two-stroke engine. So yeah, there's parts here. There's like a clutch tightener. Here's a fuel petcock out of some bike that I had at one point. Not any of the ones that I have now. Here's a head gasket off of my MR250. Yeah, this one's not usable. I'm gonna need a new one. But I don't think this is the one that was on it. I changed it out at one point. I think that's an MR250 head gasket. And some different cables. These are control. This is a D8EA. This is more like a. This probably was in my 80cc. Some other stuff in here. I need to go through and clean up these parts and just see which ones are... Because some of these parts are just old broken parts, and other ones are actual current parts. And I mean, like razor blades and rocks in there. Here's a pull start I was using on my Honda ATV that I had back in the day. This is the spark arrestor out of my little 80cc that I cut the end of. This goes inside the exhaust pipe, and it would like totally took all the power away from the little motor. So this had like a thing that would kind of plug it up. It was like kind of came to a point and then had holes that would inlet. So I just sawed this off and put it back in, but actually just ran way better without it in there at all. So yeah, some more. Like here's a chain tightener from some bike of mine. Let's see. Just looking here a little bit deeper. Like, don't even know. Like some of these things look familiar, but I don't remember. That's probably it's really big. That's got to be that's a crank seal, I think. And obviously that's just junk now. There's some bearings. That's a wheel bearing. As you can see, it's pretty... Well, you know what? That might be steering column bearing. Like broken levers. Just all kinds of parts in here. Most of them are junk. So I'm going to go through this. I'm going to separate out the junk parts, the parts that actually parts to the bike, and stuff that's not even like a light bulb. Yeah, two-stroke oil. By the way, always use is it Kills? No, what's the brand of Klotz? Klotz. That's the only two-stroke oil to ever use. Don't use anything else. Yeah, there's another seal. Okay, that's that bin, and there's some stuff in there. This is actually mostly MR250 parts in here. So here is the toolbox. So, like, there's a lot of dead weight on this bike when you're riding it. So, like, I took a lot of it off. I didn't throw it away, but this is the toolbox, which kind of is a good thing to have. But, I don't know, when you're trying to make it as light as possible, you take all that stuff off. Here's the headlight. So you can see here the headlight got damaged in a fall at one point. But it's all fixable. Just needs to be, bent back into shape, and the other guard needs to be riveted back on. Here's the speedometer, which is fine. It's got a little crack, but this will clean up fine. again, just I was like dumping as much weight on the bike as possible. Like here's the rest of the headlight. Here's a sprocket. I'll probably just change the gear ratio at one point. There's the rest of the headlight, and this has got some dents, but this will clean up well. Here's the Magneto from it, and I don't think this is the one that's in there currently. I think I replaced this. This one, I think, had a problem with it, because I was having electrical problems with it. Here's a taillight. This is a taillight that was on it. This is not the one that was on it originally, I believe. These are for the headlight. It's like the rubber that goes around the forks. Here's some toolkit. I don't know if it's for that. Here's the lens to the headlight, the reflector, some old jewelry for some reason, an old drill. So, yeah, so like this Magneto, I'm not going to throw it away because this could be rebuilt. Here's the points, and it rides on the cam. And one of the things I did is you can see the screw here. You can loosen this, and you can move it forward or backward to advance or retard the timing. And that's an actual word, so don't get offended by the fact that I said retard. Okay, that's literally the term you use for this, meaning behind or ahead. Advance is forward, retard is behind. So, yeah, so people chill out about that. It's probably going to get flagged on YouTube. So, yeah, so this is there's basically the crank has a kind of a lobe on it, and as it goes around, this gets pushed back. Well, it's mostly open, and then when it goes like that, it causes the spark plug to fire. And there's also magnets in there too, which then generate electricity. So this bike was I forget what it is, IDT something or ISTDT. It's basically has no battery in it. It gets electrical supply solely from a Magneto, and the idea is to make it light. And it was used in enduros in Europe. And it really wasn't used much in Europe in enduros. This is a time when like Husqvarna and KTM and Chez were the leaders in enduro, and some Italian bikes like Moto Morini and stuff. Because this is the 70s, and Honda was just kind of getting into this at the time. So, but the whole point of this is that it doesn't have a battery in it. It's more durable. The only thing is like there's matter of fact, this one right here. Here you go. This is great. I have this part here. Okay, so this part right here is the voltage regulator, and this one's defective. So basically, I was having a problem where my headlight would blow out every time I would start the bike up, every time, and it also was just having problems, electrical problems. And this is a voltage regulator in this little package here, and because this is all the electricity comes out of this Magneto. It's not clean at all. It has a lot of spikes. The faster the engine runs, the higher the current. So this is supposed to kind of level that out, because you don't have a battery, you don't have an alternator, anything like that. Well, I guess you kind of call this an alternator, but you're using the same current that the spark plug is using to power your headlights. So, yeah, this is supposed to kind of clean the power up, and that didn't do it. And this was bad in the first place. I think I can't remember. This is probably like 1988 or 1989 that I was replacing this part. So, quite a while ago. And here's the headlight bulb for it. And here you can see here it is. Sorry, I didn't have it in the camera. You can see it's burnt out. Yeah, so I'm wondering if we can put an LED in this. Like, I don't really, the headlight part I never used because, one, it's not particularly bright. But, it saved me a few times when I was out really late riding around on trails. So it did get me home. As a matter of fact, one time I didn't have the headlight, and I was racing home as fast as I could go so that I wasn't in the pitch black. And I did take a good spill because I went over a route, and it ripped the handlebars right out of my hands, and I went flying Superman style. It's a funny story. I'll tell it some other time. Okay, so that's those parts. And then over here, here's the tank, which I've polished up. It's not like it's perfect. So here, the handlebars have hit the tank and dented it in. And this is common on this particular motorcycle because it shares the same frame as the CR250. The MR250 has a much larger tank because it's an enduro version. They basically just took the CR250 and tried to make it an enduro bike by putting headlights and taillights on it and a larger gas tank. What they didn't change was the actual steering stop. So the steering stop is the same on the CR. The CR's tank is smaller. So when you fall on this bike or just turn the handlebars hard, you're going to hit the tank here. And this is already dented when I got it. So that's just what happens. And you can see here, the tank itself has got knee wear on it and the paint. And I don't care about this. This does not bother me. This is how they all were. This is like a well-ridden bike. And you know, as long as it looks clean, you know, and cared for, that's fine by me. Gas cap had some rust on it, and I cleaned that all that off. So that's that for the tank. I'm going to need to clean the inside of it, of course. The seat's in pretty good shape here. You can see here. So it's got, you know, little minor tears in it, but I used Armor All on it. I know you're not supposed to use Armor All on leather, but whatever. I wanted to do something to condition it. So if anybody has, and this isn't even leather, this is, you know, fake leather. But if anybody has what you should use on it, I will just tell me in the comments what you're supposed to use to condition vinyl fake leather. I will do that. Oh, here's the other thing. So I have a different spark arrestor on the bike. You see, here's the chain guard. Totally useless. It does nothing. So these are the kind of things you take off a dirt bike when you're like a teenager, because all it did was, when the chain would come off, is it would wrap around this. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do a darn thing. And I mean, it's broken right there. That's an easy fix. We could just weld a piece on there. But yeah, it was just a stupid piece. And then this thing, which weighs, oh, you see the bracket's literally broken on it too. This thing weighs like a metric ton. I mean, it's like, I can barely hold it in my hand. This is the National Forest Service spark arrestor or whatever. It says it on here somewhere and printed in it. Oh, yeah, it's right here. So we have Honda Kreisman spark arrestor, U.S. patent number, whatever. And it's got like some U.S. forestry thing on it. And yeah, that thing is a monster. It literally makes the bike weigh like another 30 pounds on the back. It's at least 30 pounds. I have to weigh it. And I think there might be a couple parts up here too. I think I pulled them all down. I think that's what the spark arrestor was up here. I think I took all that stuff down. So yeah, here we are. So I'm going to clean it up. I may not put like the toolkit and that spark arrestor back on, but I'm going to clean them up, and so I can put them back on. But I think the first thing is get the motor running. So that's it for now. Oh, and I didn't show you. Here's the gasket set I got. So this is should be a complete engine gasket kit here. Definitely has the carb gasket in there too. Don't know how far I'm going to split the engine. I may just take the side covers off. I may split it in half. I've done it before on some bikes, not this one. Some people don't like to deal with the transmission. I think it really just matters what kind of condition, as I go into the engine, what kind of condition it is in. It may be a case where I have to, but might not need to. We'll see. But anyway, so here I have the full set of gaskets. So you can see here, see it says Honda Engine Gasket Kit, CR250 75 through 77, MR250 76. So that CR250, which was the motocross bike, shares the same engine. Now it's tuned differently. A few things are different with the engine, but in terms of the seals and stuff, they're the same. So that's why it's compatible. Yeah, and if I want to, I could probably put a CR tank on that bike too. But I'm going to keep it try to keep it as original as possible here. So yeah, so just put that away, and I'm going to go through all this stuff and sort it and clean the parts that are necessary, like this stuff here. Like, I wonder if I don't even know where the head. I took the cylinder bolts off. Well, nuts, right? Yeah, it's nuts. Anyway, I don't know where those are. They're in a bin here somewhere. But if they're not, those are replaceable too. Those are just, pretty standard stuff. But there's a whole bunch of parts in here, and I can go through and just sort them out. Well, thanks for watching, everybody. So this project's gonna, it's gonna be a whole winter project. I'm not bringing the frame inside, so it's basically gonna be an engine rebuild and going through and like polishing parts up, restoring the headlight, getting the parts ready, and then when it warms up in the spring, putting them back on the bike. I don't know, do I bring the tires in? The wheels, I don't know. It really depends on the weather, because if it's all snowed over, I'm not going to be able to get in the shed, but if it's like warm, I can go out to the shed and get stuff. So, but I'm certainly not going to bring I did have the bike here in the basement up till 2013. I took it out. I had 3 dirt bikes in the basement. I just wanted space back, so I took them out and put them in the shed. Kind of wish I left the Honda down here, but that's, it didn't really do too much. We'll see, because I had that head off and I didn't bolt it back down. I just put it on and put it in the shed. So it was a little more exposed to temperature changes than I would have liked. Okay, so that's it. Long video, cutting it off here. Thanks for watching, everybody. Keep watching. And again, I'm not really doing a whole lot of editing to these videos. I'm just kind of recording them as they happen. So if you want to keep watching and you feel like subscribing, go ahead. And if you want to hit that bell, hit the bell, because that's what YouTube likes me to say. This is the first time I think I've ever said that, and I'm kind of saying it a little bit sarcastically. But yeah, go ahead, because it's something to do. Yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll be back with more.